Hey guys, today I want to talk about mental health struggles and dealing with hair loss. Yesterday, we talked to a guy on the phone, Travis, that Steve has been helping out a lot. Just finished getting his first hair transplant. And he was saying that before he got his hair right, he was going in a really dark kind of place and that he was having a lot of mental health issues. And so if you're watching this video and you do deal with that, is either with hair loss or just with anything in your life, as life can definitely be a struggle, we wanted to share some of the things that have helped us. So the first thing that I want to bring up, my dad was an alcoholic and drug addict, and that's ultimately how he died. I'm very thankful that when I was growing up, I was around AA a lot because of my dad. And there was this prayer that they would pray in AA, and it always stuck with me since I was a kid, the Serenity Prayer. And I still think of it on an almost daily basis. It says, Lord, give me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. When you have hair loss, it's one of those things that either you can change or you can't change. And we have to decide, what we actually have the power to control and then deal with that, whether that's getting on preventative hair loss treatments that really work, finding and researching a hair or transplant doctor, saving up the money to go to the surgeon that you know will give you the best results, or waiting and knowing that you can't change that right now, or maybe you've already lost too much hair that you're no longer a surgeon for a hair transplant, and maybe you just have to get a wig or a hair system or shave your head, but there's always some choice that you can make, and knowing what you can choose and what you need to just let go of is part of that serenity prayer. And I think it's a great thing to read over and over again. I'm going to read it to you one more time because I think it's that important to have in your mind. Lord, give me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. So, Steve, what are some things that you think of that have helped you with your own hair loss and mental struggle?
Well, David, I suffer from anxiety. And in order to kind of counter that, to help with that, I've never taken medication for it. I just go to the gym all the time. So I'm a big believer, David, in kind of being the best you can be. I am a big fan of male, female plastic surgery, cosmetic procedures when it comes to hair. And that's what we talk about all the time. Hair transplantation is the number one cosmetic procedure for men across the board. It's been like that for 20 years, ever since the FUT procedure, where they started taking out enough where they could do a lot at one time and really recreating a nice hairline, if not more, in one procedure. It just took off. And I don't want to go off on a tangent, but that's where the medical device companies found out about that, and they started coming in for all these FUE machines, and then they wanted a piece of the business. So the number one procedure for men is the hair transplantation. And it's amazing what I see. David mentioned Travis, our friend, a patient, that his life has turned around, and nobody knows that better than me. I had been a shy kid, always trying to, go outside and play, and found out that in certain sports I was very athletic and very talented, and always thought that the life was just going to continue to be competitive, and I was willing to do that. I'm a guy that practices all the time. I work hard. I can achieve anything until my hair started falling out. Talk about anxiety and not being able to achieve anything at that point. All I did was look in the mirror.
Yeah, you were saying yesterday you were watching the John Bon Jovi music video, his first single for Bon Jovi, and that was the moment that you realized I will never have that head of hair that Bon Jovi has.
Yeah, the young John Bon Jovi was walking down this. It was a goofy video called, I think, "She Don't Know Me," and that's where I actually discovered Bon Jovi. By the way, I discovered Bon Jovi. It was on MTV, and my hair's falling out, and I'm sitting in my parents' chair. I'm watching TV. I'm not really thinking about it, and all of a sudden, there's John Bon Jovi with this massive head of hair with these little like highlighted tips and everything, and I'm like, oh my God, my life is over. And that started down the path of like, how am I ever gonna look normal again. And that, of course, accelerated the anxiety.
So you would say the number one way that you've dealt with that is just going to the gym?
It's like I could put a hat on, I can go to the gym, I could pump all the iron, I could feel like I'm competitive, even though maybe there was no more sports for me since I graduated school or whatever. But it was always, I had to try to find a way, a solution. I would never give up. I've never given up on anything.
You know, that reminds me of my favorite musical, which is Rent. And there's a quote from Rent that says, "The opposite of war isn't peace, it's creation." What you're basically saying is, I needed to do something physically with my body that was improving it because I had this one aspect that was not improving, the opposite of improving. So if I could improve other parts of my body, it sort of started to balance me out physically, which in turn sort of balanced me out mentally. Is that kind of what you're saying?
It's totally right. And to throw on top of that, I thought I was always a nice guy. I was always nice to people. I don't know. But when you lose your hair or you're starting to lose your hair, you better be nice to people. I started becoming like the nicest guy in the world because like I had no hair. So yeah, exactly. What you just said was what I felt. I'm like, you know what? I'll spend 6 hours in the gym. I'll spend 7 hours in the gym. Little did I know that that's probably counterproductive, but I'm that kind of person that just felt like, give me something to overcompensate for this kryptonite, so to say, that I have happened to me. Why it happened, I don't know. That's another video, but it was so hurtful, and it hit me at a time in my life where I'm like, this is horrible, and it was just horrific. It just created this anxiety on top of anxiety, and that's where this is all born out of, David. The wigs, the transplants, these videos to help people. I truly feel that you and I are here to help people out there to understand you're not alone and you can do something about this.
Yeah, it's funny what you're saying actually kind of relates to the serenity prayer a bit as well, which is the serenity to accept the things I cannot change and the courage to change the things I can. So that your body is something that you physically can change, you know? And then you got to the point where surgery's improved and you could physically change your hair as well. And even very recently, it was a year ago, 2 years ago, you got your last hair transplant.
2 years ago.
2 years ago. So up to this point, even now seeing, okay, I have the courage to go get another hair transplant after all these years. And because that's something I physically can change and I'm confident that I can improve on. So you've basically just been deciding what you could and couldn't change throughout medical history.
The weirdest thing was that, everyone has seen us on these videos for the last 10 years. And if you just go back in the videos, I was kind of done. I was kind of happy. I lived my life through David DiMuzio. I love his hairline. I'm like, I'm never getting that hairline. Not even close. Just like I said when I was losing my hair with my Italian friends back in the day. And it was weird when Dr. McGrath did my final surgery and the results from it. It's like I'm back to being 19 again and I'm getting my hair back. Even though I had it, but I mean, like, it wasn't really like what you guys want. It was just like kind of okay. And you're not bald. It was really not bald. Mm-hmm. So here I am again. It's like, oh my God, like this is incredible. And I'm very happy.
There's a quote from one of my favorite books, Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl. And it says, "The only thing that cannot be taken from a man is his ability to choose his perspective in any given circumstance." That's one of my favorite quotes, and that's something I think of almost every day when I'm in a position that I'm like, man, this did not go the way that I want. And I know, okay, I still can learn from this. I still know that there's a way that I can look at it, that there's always an upside. I do really believe that every good has an opposite bad, and every bad has an opposite good. If one person wins a bunch of money in the stock market, somebody else lost a bunch of money in the stock market. Like, there's no just good or just bad. There was always something that comes from it. I mean, even I was sexually abused when I was younger, and you would say, well, what good could possibly come of that, right? And the really good thing about that is when I talk to other people that also went through that same abuse, we understand each other. Like, I can relate to that, and I've actually helped a lot of other people that have been through that as well. And I wouldn't have been able to help them if I hadn't gone through the same thing. I wouldn't understand what they'd gone through and their perspective, and they wouldn't feel necessarily comfortable even sharing with me, except that we've been through that together. So there's always something positive that comes even from the worst negative things if you're really looking for it.